Hello dear students, welcome. This is Joseline here. I'm going to continue lesson What is Moral Action, written by M.K. Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. So in the first part, we learned that conventional behavior cannot be treated as moral actions. Okay, mere observance of traditions and customs cannot be treated as moral actions. Okay, so then what kind of actions are considered moral is what we are going to learn. Let's move. A moral act must be our own act, must spring from our own will. If we act mechanically, there is no moral content in our act. See, the first paragraph, Gandhiji very clearly describes that an action which is influenced by the existing tradition and customs cannot be called moral action, because you are just influenced to do them. They are not your own actions, so they are not called moral actions. So when an action is your own action, what do you mean by own action? See the second line. If we act mechanically means without thought. When you act without thinking, such actions are called mechanical actions. They cannot be called moral action. Moral action should be your own act. When you do an action on your own means when you think and do it, only then such action can be called a moral action. Otherwise, it is just a mechanical action. Such action would be moral if we think it proper to act like a machine and do so. See, when you don't think, you are just like a machine. Does the machine think? Machines never think. Okay, they do not have the capacity to think. Only human beings have been given the reasoning power. Okay, no other creature in the world has reasoning power, thinking power, power of thought, right? Machines cannot think. So you two are treated, you two are machines when you don't think and act. Are you able to catch what I'm telling here? When you don't think and act, your actions are mechanical actions. They cannot be called moral action because they're not your own actions. Own action, see the first line, a moral act must be our own act and it must spring from our will. When we think and act, only such actions are called intentional and moral actions. When we think and do, otherwise our actions are just mechanical actions. See, in doing so, we use our discrimination. See, we should bear in mind the distinction between acting mechanically and acting intentionally. Acting mechanically means acting without thought, acting without thinking. So when you act without thinking, such actions are called mechanical actions. Only when you think and act, such actions are called intentional actions and they are called moral actions. So we need to be very careful about this. When your actions are intentional actions, only they become moral, otherwise they are only non-moral and mechanical actions. Okay, see, it gives an example. Gandhiji describes intentional and mechanical actions with a good example. See what is that? It may be moral of a king to pardon a culprit. Pardon means excuse. Culprit means a criminal. It may be moral of a king to pardon a culprit, but the messenger bearing the order of pardon plays only a mechanical part in the king's moral act. You know very well that kings used to have a number of messengers to carry their messages to people. So imagine a king has pardoned, excused a criminal, and the king doesn't go and tell this directly to the criminal. He will just send a messenger, and this messenger, okay, he just goes and tells the culprit, the criminal, that you have been excused. If he does so, the messenger's action is a non-moral action. It is not moral action because he is just doing it mechanically. Then when can his action be treated as a moral action? You see, Gandhiji continues, but if the messenger were to bear the king's order considering it to be his duty, his action would be a moral one. So the king has called a messenger, and he has informed the messenger that the messenger should go and inform the culprit that he has been excused. If he goes and tells it as it is, then the messenger's action becomes non-moral action. But if the messenger thinks, he thinks, what does he think? He feels that yes, it is my duty, I've been appointed for the same, I've been appointed to carry messages. If he thinks in this way and acts, then his action becomes moral. See, thinks and acts, it springs from his will. So when an action springs from our will, only they become moral, otherwise they are just moral. See the action, messenger goes and tells you have been excused, that is a mechanical act. But when he thinks it is my duty, I have to obey whatever my king says because I've been appointed for the same, then his action become moral. Let's move on. How can a man understand morality who does not use his own intelligence and power of thought, but lets himself be swept along like a log of wood by current? Flowing water, convince flowing water. When you throw a piece of wood in flowing water, what does it do? The wood also, you know that the flowing water, the current carries the wood, isn't it? Gandhiji compares our actions to a log carried by current when you don't think. When you don't think and act, you are just like a log of wood, a piece of wood which is carried away by the flowing water. Okay, so such actions can never be called moral action. So Gandhi says you have to think because you have been given the power of thinking. Okay, so when you think and act, only then your actions become moral. Otherwise you are just like a log of wood. You just throw a log of wood, a piece of wood into the flowing water. What does it do? It also moves. So our actions will be like that when we don't think and act. Only when a person thinks and acts, his action become moral. Let's move on. Sometimes a man defies convention and acts on his own with a view to doing absolute good. Gandhiji says conventional actions, influenced actions cannot be called moral actions. They are mechanical actions, right? They are non-moral actions. We have to defy means challenge the prevailing conventions and act on our own. Okay, the meaning of this sentence is we have to act on our own. Only then our actions can be considered moral. So one more example Gandhiji gives. Such a great hero was Wendell Phillips. Addressing an assembly of people, he once said, till you learn to form your own opinions and express them, I do not care much what you think of me. So Wendell Phillips, dear students, was a great American orator and a social reformer who opposed slavery. Great American statesman Wendell Phillips was. He opposed slavery. He was a good orator. He gave good public speeches during his time. He had become a very popular man in America because of his works. Through his works he had gained a lot of name and fame. Obviously, when a person gains a lot of name and fame, along with name and fame he also gains enemies, right? You may not understand what I'm telling right now. Definitely you'll come to know when you grow up. When you become popular, when you become a celebrity, obviously enemies also grow. Even Wendell Phillips had number of enemies in America. They spread a lot of rumors about him, and people too believed. You know very well that we human beings believe immediately what others say. That's why our actions are called non-moral actions. They are all mechanical actions. We don't think. We believe what others say. In the same way, whatever is enemies, Wendell Phillips' enemies told the people about Wendell Phillips, they believed. Many people considered Wendell Phillips to be a traitor. But one day Wendell Phillips, while giving a public speech, told very openly, so what he said, he was talking to people, he said, till you learn to form your own opinions and express them, I do not care. about what you think of me. He told the people, till you people form your own opinion, till you think and act about me, I don't care what you think of me, because you people have been just influenced by someone. Okay, you don't know reality about me. You have believed what others have told you. So till you form your own opinion, I don't care what you think of me. So try to understand, till you think, your actions cannot be called moral. Wendell Phillips one day in a public gathering told told the people who were hating him, who had believed rumors about him, he told them openly that till you form your own opinions, till you think and act, I don't care what you think about me. He told the people not to be like the log of wood carried by water. He wanted the people not to behave like machines. He wanted them to think and act. Got it point? Let's move on. Thus, when we all care only for what our conscience says, then alone can we be regarded to have stepped onto the moral road. Every person has conscience. Only when we listen to our conscience, we can say that we are on the moral path. Let's move on. We shall not reach this stage as long as we do not believe and experience the belief that God within us, the God of all, is the ever-present witness to all our acts. See how beautifully Gandhi says, God, see, the God within us. What is the God within us? Conscience. Gandhiji says, when you act according to your conscience, because conscience is the only person who is always with you. No, you may not expect to live with your parents, wife, children, friends and all forever, but you live with one person forever, that is your own conscience. And Gandhiji says, when you listen to your conscience, only then your actions become moral, because it is a God of all gods. When you have this belief, what belief? That conscience is the God of all. See, it is a God within us. It is a God of all gods, and it is the ever-present witness. Testimony. Witness means testimony. It is ever-present witness to all our acts. When you have this belief, what belief? The belief that the conscience is the God of all gods. Okay, and when you act according to your conscience, only then your actions become moral action. In the first paragraph, Gandhiji makes it very clear, actions that are influenced cannot be called moral action. When you act on your own, when you think and act, only then your actions can be called a moral action. Okay, when you listen to your conscience, because conscience is the God of all gods, it witnesses each and every action of us. Only when you listen to your conscience, you can say that your actions are moral actions. Otherwise, they remain mechanical. So in the second paragraph, Gandhiji says, think and act. Act from your will. Act according to your conscience. When you think and act, only such actions can be regarded, can be considered as moral actions. Otherwise, they are just mechanical. I hope you might have understood this concept. Actions that spring from our will, okay, actions to which our conscience says yes, such actions are moral actions. Okay, so man has been endowed, he has been gifted with thinking power. We have that power of thinking. So when you think and act, only then your actions become moral. Otherwise, they are non-moral. Okay, I'm going to end now. I'll be back soon, and we'll continue the lesson in the next part. Lesson is quite interesting, dear students. I don't want you to get confused by introducing. I don't want to introduce many principles at one time. I just want you to learn one by one. In the first part, we learned that conventional actions cannot be treated as moral actions, and now actions that spring from our will are called moral actions. In the next part, one more principle. Stay tuned, dear students. Don't go out. Take care of your health. Stay home. Stay safe. If you have any doubts, you can call me on my personal number. Okay, don't forget to subscribe. Take care. I'll be back soon. Stay tuned.